Talofa lava, malo lava soy fomoa langi mai pa ia man malu faafungaanga. Olo ingo ala wia alu ali imoni pili. Ua ol prestene o le ngafa o au foi e fai masui o mato vaenga. E whaatalo whaatu i pa ia man malu o we o faafunga mai. I lunga le nei upenga ta whailani. O te whaamalo atu foi, i le tapua inga mai o Samoa. Le malo Amerika Samoa tutuila mamanua, ai meise le malo tu totasi o Samoa, tu moma pule i tu au maalatawa ai ingai ma le vaa funti. Warm greetings, everyone. My name is Alawi Amoni Pili, and I welcome all of those who are now tuning in, whether it's live or those who will be tuning in later. This message is for you. This program was put together by leaderships in the community in California because of our solidarity with American Samoa and the opposition of deep sea mining near American Samoa, specifically near the ancestral islands of Manuatele and the Rose Atoll. Through this entire program, you're going to be listening and hearing from our leaders from here in the diaspora and our leaders from back home in Samoa, and why we should be in opposition of deep sea mining and the importance and facts that we should all know. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and give time to Brother Reno Anawai from PICP because we have some acknowledgments to make. Following Brother Reno, we'll then hear from Leila, the powerhouse behind Defend Our Moana. She's also an artist in her own right. Without further ado, Brother Reno, Laufionga, Olu Avanua Lene.
Whaftai mo lawa noa. O te whaatalo whātu re pa ia mana mamalu tatua whia ne afi afi. Mai le tai sama o tui manua sa i pa ia le mota te mai tai o nā whanua. Ia whapea fo i a inga matunu o Mala Pasifika. Too low na lava. My name is Reno Anawai, and it's a privilege and honor to be in this shared space and community. My family hails from the villages of Whangatongo, Leone, Malailoa, Lauli'i, Whangaitua, Olosenga, Ta'u, Lepa, Whalealili, Vaiala, Leova'a Pu'upua, Ma Sapali'i. And I currently am settled on unceded Ramatish Ohlone land known as the Peninsula of the San Francisco Bay Area. And as indigenous peoples, it's always important to start our gatherings acknowledging the land, the Moana, and the virtual spaces that we're occupying. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and ground us in a land acknowledgement. Mātou te amataina le nei whanatanga ma le whaalualo ma le loto maolalo. We begin this gathering in deep respect, humility, and truth. We acknowledge that many of us join this virtual space from the unceded lands of indigenous peoples across what we know as California. In the Bay Area, we honor the Ramatish Ohlone, the original stewards of the San Francisco Peninsula, and in the South, we uplift the Tongva, Ashaman, and the indigenous peoples of what we know as Southern California, whose lands, waters, and cultures remain living and enduring in this time. As Pacifica peoples, we also recognize that we rise as settlers on native lands, communities who have been displaced ourselves, yet now live and build homes on land stolen from others. We do not take this presence lightly. We commit to showing up in solidarity with indigenous nations in their movements for land back, sovereignty, healing, and self-determination. We also honor the Moana, our Pacific Ocean. She is not only the deep blue that connects our islands, but is an elder relative who has carried our ancestors, our languages, our creation stories, and our responsibilities. The Moana is our home, and she is calling us back. Today, we especially acknowledge the sacred lands and waters of America Samoa, which hold the histories, the livelihoods, and the futures of our people. The struggles and decisions that impact these waters impact the generations to come, so we lift them up with intention in this space. Though we are gathering in a digital realm, we remind ourselves that virtual space does not equate to neutral space. We are still on indigenous land, and our words, our intentions, and our actions ripple across geographies and generations. May we move forward grounded in relationship to the land, to the Moana, and to each other with reverence, courage, and care. Faftai.
Next slide, please, Mel. Thank you. Whawhetai te lava, Brother Reno, for grounding us in our acknowledgments to each other, to this land that we come from, and to the land that we currently live on. Malo lele, talofa lava, bulavinaka, and greetings with love and humility to you all. Kokungwa ko Leila Tamale. My name is Leila Tamale, and I'm a proud daughter of Oceania with roots in Tonga by way of Makave, Vava'u, and Tokomalolo, Tongatapu, Samoa by way of Samusu Upolu, Fiji, and France. Born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area and also a graduate student at Stanford University's Doerr School of Sustainability. On behalf of this campaign and our coalition, I am honored and deeply humbled to welcome you all to tonight's Talanoa and Town Hall. Defend our Moana, say no to deep sea mining in American Samoa. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you're tuning in as a community leader, an organizer, an auntie, a youth, a church member, a student, this space is for you. This is a space to learn together, to ask questions, and to take action rooted in love for our Moana, the ocean that connects, nourishes, and protects us. Tonight, we gather as Pacifica because this administration and big business interests are, yet again, threatening our sacred fonua, our environment and people whom we know as indigenous people of the Moana, of the ocean, are deeply interconnected. As you may know, the US government has recently opened a 30-day public comment period exploring the possibility of leasing parts of the seabed off the coast of American Samoa for deep sea mining. This is urgent. It's happening now, and it threatens not just the ocean floor, but the ways of life, the stories, and future of our Pacifica people. Over the past couple of weeks, the Southern California Pacific Islander Community Response Team, or SoCal PICR, has been building a campaign for those of us in California and across diaspora to stand with American Samoa, whose leadership opposes deep sea mining in their waters. This campaign is a grassroots collective campaign rooted in our values of reciprocity, love, respect, and tauhiwa, nurturing the space, caring for each other, and our connected ocean home. Next slide, please, Mel. Thank you. This coalition, as you can see, has grown in mana as community-based organizations across California have joined us, namely Pacific Islander Community Partnership, or PICP, Climate Resilient Communities, Anamatangi Polynesian Voices, and Lingafa. We've convened this Talanoa today because all too often our community is left out of these conversations that affect our entire worlds. We're here to learn together about this issue, listen to one another's stories and concerns, and come together to mobilize for American Samoa and Oceania as a whole. Our purpose tonight is threefold. One, to deepen our collective understanding of what deep sea mining is and how it threatens the cultural and ecological life of American Samoa and Oceania. Two, to equip our California Pacifica leaders, organizations, and community members with tools, language, and resources to take part in this campaign. And thirdly, to activate our collective power, our collective mana, by coalition building, submitting public comments, sharing the campaign, and making our voices heard in this federal process and beyond. We are so grateful to be in community with you all tonight, to defend our Moana together. Malo apito and whawhetai te lava. Thank you.
You're muted, Moni.
Whaftai lava, Brother Reno. Whaftai lava, Sister Leila. Thank you for the land acknowledgement, which is very important to us Samoans. Thank you, Leila, for really laying out the reason why we're all gathered here today. I'm reminded of the Samoan proverb, O lupe savau ese ese, Ailewa fui fui fatasi. Basically, it means we're all birds from different parts of the forest, but now we're all here gathered under one purpose. And that purpose is to stand up for our Moana and to stand up for our ancestral environment. And so, with that said, I'm reminded of another alanga upu, another proverb, Fasili muamai, ya mulimai, or Fasili mulimai, ya muamai, which basically means, let he who comes last ask the person who came first. It was really, really important before I introduce this next speaker that we understand that she's from the motherland. She is a daughter of American Samoa. She is a leader in her community. But I also want to give a shout out because in the last hours before this program, she decided in her time of busy schedules back home in American Samoa, she decided to join us in our space here. And so, with that, we're grateful and humbled to have Dr. Sabrina Suluai Mahuka with us from American Samoa. A little bit about our next keynote speaker. We're grateful to have her here in this space. Dr. Sabrina Suluai Mahuka in 2021 was the Territorial Teacher of the Year for American Samoa. She's the sole proprietor for Suluai Mahuka Consulting and currently serves as the Executive Director of the American Samoa Resilience Office. Sabrina was the first American Samoan to win the Presidential Innovation Award for Environmental Educators from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for Region 9. And she was also the first Pacific Islander to win an EE 30 Under 30 award for the North American Association for Environmental Education. Since 2019, Sabrina represented American Samoa at various Young Pacific Leader events such as the General Conference, the Young Pacific Leader Small Grants Program, the Young Pacific Leader Civic Engagement Program, the Young Pacific Leader Tech Camp, the Young Pacific Leader Inaugural Marine Sustainability Workshop. After the Young Pacific Leader Alumni Voyage in 2022, Sabrina was named the first chairperson of the Young Pacific Leaders Alumni Network. Notably, Sabrina was selected as the American Samoa representative for the inaugural U.S. ROK Japan Trilateral Global Leadership Youth Summit to be part of the first cohort for the young trilateral leaders. Sabrina is the founder of the nonprofit organization Fina Finau, which focuses on youth advocacy for the environment with students and chapters in 3 districts of Tutuila. Sabrina works as the organization's executive director with over 300 youths each year to coordinate coast cleanups, tree planting, and school outreach visits. And above all that, even after all that, Dr. Suluai Mahuka is also an author, a writer, and an editor. She's an author of over 7 children's books and an editor of 3. It is my honor to go ahead and introduce and give the floor to Dr. Sabrina Suluai Mahuka, who is the executive director back in American Samoa. She's here to grace us and also give us her insight on what's at stake for American Samoa and for the rest of Oceania. Lawa fionga li'i fo mai, Dr. Sabrina Mahuka, olo avanoalene, faftai.
Thank you. Hello, Falava, and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. As mentioned, my name is Sabrina Suluai Mahuka, and I'm honored to be here as an invited speaker to share information and perspective on the issue of deep sea mining and what it could mean for our people and our ocean. The Department of Interior is currently considering whether to allow deep sea mining exploration in our waters, and the public comment period is now extended until August 15th of 2025. And this is a critical moment for all of us, whether we're living on island or abroad, so that we can raise our voices together. And so tonight is learning about the facts, it's asking questions and understanding how we can engage meaningfully in this process. And again, thank you so much for showing up and caring about the future of our ocean and our communities. In June, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management launched a 30-day public comment period on the proposal made by Impossible Metals to mine the seabed in the Samoan Basin. This proposal was unsolicited, so it did trigger some concern across our territory. However, on June 25th, our governor, lieutenant governor, Congresswoman Amata, and the leaders of our Fono announced their opposition to deep sea mining. With that, a task force was formed for the American Samoa government, and it brought together agencies such as the American Samoa Environmental Protection Agency, our Department of Marine, Wildlife, and Resources, Department of Commerce, and also my office, the Department of Resilience, and many other offices, including the governor's office, were represented to showcase strong support from the private sector and nonprofits against deep sea mining. And in this aspect, I serve as a lead for the ASG task force, and I'm grateful to be able to share about the local context here today. Overall, we've had hundreds of comments in the last month that were officially submitted to the BOEM website. And so community voices helped push comments past 31,000 submissions. Yet we understand that the numbers aren't enough because BOEM is asking for detailed, data-driven input, and that's where tonight's resources come in. For the environmental realities, the Samoan Basin is home to a very unique ecosystem, migratory species like skipjack and yellowfin tuna, endangered turtles, whales, and our sacred pololo. And this region remains largely unmapped. It lacks a comprehensive environmental impact statement, and the area for the request for information and interest is located nearest to the Rose Atoll, but also to the Manua Islands. And so we understand that even the International Seabed Authority admits that there are major data gaps. The $5 million that BOEM has allocated for studies is not enough to evaluate such a vast area such as the Samoan Basin. And without proper science, we understand that mining here would be reckless, because it's not only sediment plumes, it's also disturbances from mining that could damage our coral reefs, which are already at risk. They're already undergoing a lot of coral bleaching. And these sediment plumes and disturbances can cloud the water column, affect the fish feeding and breeding, and also disrupt migratory routes. These risks are not theoretical, they are very well documented. And so that's the environmental portion of this, but also on the other hand, there's a lot of questions about the economic realities, especially for our territory. What can we gain from this? As of now, there is no current agreement for American Samoa to receive any revenue from this process. And this is according to the Code of Federal Regulations, because the RFI is within federal waters. In addition, we would not be competing with China in terms of national security or in terms of the market, because the lithium market is already shifting with global trends moving towards recycling, reusing, and alternative battery chemistries. In addition, there is an example of a failed project, a deep sea mining project in Papua New Guinea, where it actually collapsed before it even began, and it cost their government over $120 million, which they're still in debt. And so it's not necessarily an idea of economic diversification, because it does threaten our multi-million-dollar tuna industry and our fishing jobs. And just this month, Impossible Metals did state that they would offer American Samoa 1% of their profits from mining operations. But if we break that down, profit is what's left over after everyone else gets paid. That includes investors, executives, debt holders, and contractors. And so who really does define the cost? Who audits them? There is no transparency in how the profit would be put together or even shared with American Samoa. And again, we don't have any legal claim to this percentage under the current federal law. And so when we're talking about revenue versus profit, we could be promised 1% of zero, and legally there's nothing that we can do about it. So meanwhile, our tuna industry, again, does bring in millions of dollars annually, employs hundreds of local workers, and has built infrastructure that supports entire families and our local economy. And jeopardizing that for a speculative AI-run seabed mining experiment is not diversification, it is displacement. There's also the question about whether or not jobs would be created from this industry. From our understanding and research, deep sea mining is high tech and also highly automated. And so the very few jobs it might create are short term and require specialized expertise that doesn't necessarily exist here at the moment. And that's automated or roving machines, underwater machines. In fact, when we met with Impossible Metals, they acknowledged that they would not be hiring local workers initially. And comparing that to the thousands of people who rely on the ocean today, from local fishers, county workers, and coastal communities, the issue of this fallacy of job creation is still a question mark. Moving toward cultural realities, we understand that our relationship with the ocean is not just economic, it's ancestral. Our fa'asaimoa is deeply tied to the ocean. Seasonal traditions like the ukule and pololo harvest, as well as daily coastal fishing, connect us to our ancestors, and it also feeds our families. And mining the seabed disrupts this balance. If we remain silent, we allow outside interests to define our future. And so right now with this commenting period, it is an opportunity to stand for our culture, our food sovereignty, and also our marine integrity. If we're looking at the global context, globally, resistance to deep sea mining is growing, and over 25 countries now support a moratorium or pause, and that includes countries like New Zealand, France, Germany, and even our Pacific neighbors, such as Fiji and Palau. And so we're not alone, and this is the time that we work together to make our stance known during this critical comment period. And I'm sure it's going to be shared at the end of this town hall, but there is still time to submit your personal comments, and individual comments are extremely important, but we also need our leaders to speak up locally and abroad. BOEM is looking for formal statements from governments, agencies, and organizations. And we as a community must put pressure on our leaders to act. And if there's talk about benefit sharing or moving forward with deep sea mining, there must first be accountability, science-based decisions, and legal clarity, because it's not enough to wait and see. And we must demand transparency at this moment from our leadership right now. And so just to share with the group here, my office has created a helpful commenting writing guide. Is also putting together a document to share more background materials and a template for folks to get more information, and also to see how you can make your submission easier and more effective. And so we can make sure our leaders, just like our community, are on record loud and clear by submitting their comments. Some final thoughts, because I know time is limited, but we understand that the BOEM process is moving quite fast, but I know that we together are rising to meet the moment. And so tonight's sharing reflects my perspective as a speaker committed to environmental stewardship, but I also encourage everyone here to do your own research, look into academic resources, engage with credible science, talk with your families, and form your own informed stance. And most importantly, please do not stay silent, because this issue affects all of us, our oceans, our livelihoods, our cultural identity. And it's important to remember that first, we live as a grateful descendants, honoring the land and the ocean we inherited. We live as mindful stewards, caring for the land and the ocean we are trusted to hold. And we live as a worthy ancestor, protecting the land and ocean our children will receive. And so what we do now shapes the future we leave behind and honors those who came before us. And this is not the end, it is the beginning for deeper conversations. And if you feel moved to act, stay connected and help amplify the message in your communities and with your families and to your leaders. And so together, I'm hoping that we can protect our ocean, our culture, and our future. Thank you once again for having me, and Fa'afetai te lava.
Paftai lava lau fionga li ifomai, Dr. Sabrina Suluai Mahuka, for that amazing presentation. We're getting a lot of reactions from those who are tuning in, so thank you. I know what you had to say in your message is really resonating with our people here. If you don't mind, I have a few questions for you. My first question, yes, you say that our voices are important, and most definitely. But for those who are listening and who are wondering, well, if we do raise our voices and we do submit our letters, is that a guarantee that this would stop deep sea mining? And in the event that it does not, are there any potential legal actions that American Samoa as a territory, or for anyone in that matter, uh, are there legal steps that we can still take, regardless of a potential decision to still deep sea mine near our islands in American Samoa?
Thank you for the question. Absolutely. And so, of course, the commenting period is very important. It is a new process for, I believe, all of the US, including American Samoa. And so, whatever decision is made from BOEM would set a precedence. And BOEM did share that at any point, if there is an impact study for the environment done, and they see that maybe that this is detrimental to all of our ecosystems, then they can also put a stop to it. The other actions that ESG is looking into, and just to share on the task force, our Attorney General is a member of the task force. And so she's also looking at the legal aspect of things. We've been in talks with Earth Justice, and they are interested in representing our Pacific community if there is a nonprofit or if there's a group of constituents who would like to be represented. Earth Justice does offer their services pro bono, and so that is an option if someone wants to officially file a claim. In addition, there is a resolution from our House of Representatives being discussed right now in terms of what that looks like for our deed of cession for American Samoa and that relationship between our territory and the US. And so getting involved with your House of Representatives or even getting your families involved with your leaders, elected officials makes a huge difference because they need to hear from the community what it means to engage in deep sea mining if the process does get approved.
Thank you, Doctor. My follow-up question, you did mention that the site uh, for this potential deep sea mining is off the coast of the Manua Islands, also near the Rose Atoll. Can you shed a little more light on the site of where this will potentially be happening?
Thank you. And so for American Samoa, we do have we have control within a certain radius, and the area that is under RFI right now is within federal waters. It is closest to the Rose Atoll. It is closest to the Manua Islands. And from what I understand at our first town hall, we did have a representative from the Manua community. He is also the commissioner for our public safety department. The Moliga family shared that they also oppose deep sea mining because we understand that Manua Islands, if you've ever been there or if you've ever seen pictures, it is pristine and it really is the epitome of what it means to be a Pacific Islander. And they live off the land, they live off the ocean, and it is not that far off from where the RFI is. And again, those sediment plumes, those sediment disturbances can travel hundreds of miles, and Manua would feel that first.
Hmm. Thank you again. My final question, and I know because of time, and again, thank you for the availability that you've shown to our community here. My final question is, everyone here on Zoom, everyone who's tuning in, of course, there's no doubt that we are all concerned and that we are all really wanting to protect our Moana, whether they are from Samoa or whether they are daughters and sons of the Pacifica in Oceania or those who are standing in solidarity with us. My final question to you, Doctor, is that you're in Samoa, you are in American Samoa. We would really love to really know, since you have boots on the ground, how are our people in Samoa feeling about this potential deep sea mining? I know you had a town hall. I know that there was a lot in favor, but you speaking personally to citizens of American Samoa, what's their stance? What's the temperature check there, if you don't mind?
Thank you. I think, and it is a hard question to answer, right? From what I understand, a majority of our people here in American Samoa, locally and abroad, right, are against deep sea mining. We understand that we are people of the ocean. And a lot of our livelihoods, our ancestry is linked to the ocean. And so we respect that relationship. But at the same time, I must admit there is, some of the community who would like to explore what the benefits would be if American Samoa says yes, or if deep sea mining goes through. And this is not a secret. It is officially posted on the BOEM website, but just for this particular question, an example of a group who is interested in deep sea mining is the Republican Party of American Samoa, in which they shared that they would support it. They're looking at what revenue could come in to American Samoa. They're looking at being a pillar for the US in terms of national security, and then also just competing with China in that aspect. Of course, I'm going to agree to disagree with the Republican Party's statement, official statement that was submitted, because at the end of the day, the science tells us otherwise, right? And so just to reiterate, in Facebook or in personal communication and looking at the other comments on the BOEM website, a majority of folks do oppose deep sea mining, and I'm hoping that momentum builds, because the reality is, look at the science, look at the data, instead of looking at what's speculative. Thank you.
Sabrina Suluai Moka. Again, it is such an honor to have you in this space. O te loa toto ngia lau fionga, turango no ngatwenga mise lo tofi o I tatu atu no pelo Amerika Samoa. Ai whaafitai la mo le whaavanoa I na lo teimi, ia mauia fuafuanga toe a wale la asanga o lo sau. Thank you so much, Doctor. Again, it was such an honor to have you in our space. And everyone is reacting, so thank you. Before I go to our next speaker, I want to do a little bit of an acknowledgement. Brother Reno has reminded us that we have an elder from the Chumash and Tongva Nation here with us, Auntie Tina Calderon. And yes, there is always space and room to recognize those who are from the ancestral lands, who many of us here on this panel and those of us who are tuning in that we call home. And I just wanted to recognize Auntie Tina Calderon, who's in this space with us. Thank you for blessing our Fata Singa. Thank you, Auntie. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and give time to our next speaker. I believe, I just want to check on our team real quick. Is Malia with us? Is Malia Valfanua with us?
I'm here.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Paftailava Laufionga Malia Valfanua. She's another representative on our panel who's a daughter of American Samoa who is tuning in from American Samoa. She's also one who last minute in the last hour decided to give up her time under the direction of the Director of Marine Resources. It is Laufionga Malia Valfanua, who's currently serving as the Aquatic Education Manager in American Samoa. Laufionga Olotemi Avanoa Lene. This is the space for you to also share your insight as well. Thank you.
Ia e momola ona whatala whatule pa ia man mamalo o e alo whapeona whaafonga mai lunga upenga ta whailangi. Ia e ia nei avanoa mātangofi ia e whae ia masui le whionga le whatonu. E whaamarulu atu le pa ia man mamaru tato awhia ia ua le lava mai lunga luna whionga. Ia ono nisi fo e o tutuangia whaamalo. Ai o lo uingoa o Maria maunga wau whanua ia o lo whengarenga nei mtanga renga o alama New York Sami ma wau matua. I nei Amerika Samoa. Talofa lawa everybody. Like I said, my name is Maria Balfanua. Currently the Aquatic Education Manager here for the Department of Marine and Wildlife Resources. I'm here representing the Director, Nathan Ilawa. Unfortunately, he's not able to join us today due to some other meetings with the Governor's office. I guess Dr. Sabrina Mahuka already covered all of the details that have been going on here in American Samoa as far as the task force under the leadership of Dr. Mahuka, as far as impacts, as far as next steps that we here in American Samoa are working towards. The stance of the department is we just want to make sure that we have a well-informed community. We want to inform them of the status of the fisheries, the status of the coral reefs, and just to make sure that they have the necessary information for them to make informed decisions. And so that way, when they do go to comment, and we do encourage you to comment, whether you're for or against it, we do encourage you to comment just so they see the different perspectives of the people from American Samoa or anybody in the diaspora or any Pacific Islander for that matter. It's always good to voice your opinions. And I was hearing some of our traditional proverbs mentioned earlier. Well, I have one that I always use, especially when we're going out to meet with the communities or when we're going out to meet with school kids, is tutu'u mailo sa ita aleanga fatasi. Basic translation is bring your boat next to mine, let us share. So in the stance of the department is we want to share the information that we have. We want to make sure everybody understands everything that's going on. What are some of the potential impacts that may occur here in American Samoa due to deep sea mining? But we also want the general public here in American Samoa or off island, wherever you're staying at, to be well informed so you can make your own decision on whether you're for or against. I think what we're standing against is some of the implications that may affect us culturally, may affect us economically. But again, the information is out there. We try to let the public know in Samoan, in English, or we also have other ethnicities that live here in American Samoa. If once they request, we can also find translators to translate, because they are here, they are working on the land, and it affects everyone. A lot of these people are taxpayers, so they want to also know how it's going to affect them, how it's going to affect their livelihoods. And that is one of the biggest things that our department wants to do, is to equip them with that information. I know that Dr. Sabrina has also talked about some of the nitty-gritty about what's going on between BOEM and Impossible Metals, as far as the conversation between American Samoa and BOEM. So I think the stance that we have here at the department is we don't want anything to disrupt the stocks right now. Right now, we are good at where we're not overfished, according to the data. Our canneries are also experiencing a slow receiving of fish due to other implications as well. But what we don't want is we don't want it to stop. So again, a well-informed community will make well-informed decisions. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Paftai lava lau whiunga maunga wau whanua o se tasi fasili whamonmole. I know the water's all connected, and because you also mentioned our fisheries and the population of fish that we have in our industry. Is there any data of the impacts of the reducing of the nautical miles from 500,000 to 50? and the impacts in our tuna population? Or is this data that you're collecting before the executive order was put in place?
So the data that I'm talking about is local data. When we do our Creole surveys, the fish that's landed here in American Samoa off of our Alita boats, some of our long lining data. Also, the other data that I'm talking about is from our marine protected areas. These are showing that these are within our EEZ. So that is the data that I am talking about.
And we had a question in the comments about where we can find such data or any data. Is there a website for your department that that people can visit?
That's a great question. Yes, we do have a website. You can also find us on our social media accounts. Anybody who is requesting any of that can just drop us a message and let us know exactly what it is that you're looking for. And we can work with our biologists to try and get that data over to you folks.
Thank you so much, Maria Maunga Vaufanua. Mole atu matolo fa'anga i le fionga pule fa'atonu. Paftai fo'i mo lau fionga mo le fa'avunoina lo teimi. Thank you so much for being here last minute and joining the space. It's an honor for all of us here in the diaspora to hear leaders like you and Dr. Stuluai Mahuka from American Samoa. Paftai lava. Thank you.
Paftai lava mo le avanoa watu ina mai fo nemtanga wenga. Yeah, if I'm malulua to for ele malo eolo fa funga mai pa yeah, wa use tam fainga na finene a fa o yese pati o sarsi po se leo fo wa le tau tamali I to fa funga anga ya malu a be fale o to finangalo. But thank you again for allowing us the time and the space to share what is going on here in the department. And if anybody who is listening or anybody that you talk to has a question about anything that the department is doing, Department of Marine and Wildlife Resources here in American Samoa, please feel free to reach out to us and we will be glad to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Soifua.
Bye.
Well, brothers and sisters, friends, as we move on, again, a big thank you to our representatives from the motherland back in American Samoa. It's such an honor to hear their insight, and especially to see how our people back home are feeling. We don't really see it on social media, but they have a front row seat. And thank you also for their wisdom in the matter as they share this space with us. Next on our program, I'm going to go ahead and give the time to Papali Itele Violet Saena. She is the founder and executive director of Climate Resilient Communities. She's going to go ahead and share with us the science, also a short brief video for all of us. Olo Fionga, Anti-Violet, Olo Avanoa Lene.
Paftai lava mo le avanoa. Moni, whātalo whātu le paia ma le mamalu lau fia le nei a fiafi. Whaftai foi mo le avanoa vai ei ona i so au foi le whaasoa wanim o puta ua. Good evening, everyone. My name is Violet Saena, and I'm the founder executive director of Climate Resilient Communities, and I am honored to be here to share some light on this issue. Can we go to the next slide? I'm not sure about timing. Can I have a time check? I know I have a couple of slides, so I can run through some of them if we're short on time. You're good. You have your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so my role today, again, honored to be part of this coalition, and also I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to hear from Dr. Mauka and also Leusoya Maria for providing the information. My role today, I'm just gonna try and shed some light on what the issue is, even though that we've heard from the experts from home about the potential impact where most of the communities stand. But I just want to, I think my role again, just to share light of why is seabed mining and why is this an important issue for us to have this talanoa. So please
bear with me. I'm just gonna run through this. If I know most of you have done your research, and I hope this is helpful. But I'll also try and be brief and also explain this simple as I can. So deep sea mining, just a brief background. It's really the removal of mineral deposits from the deep seabed or the ocean floor. And the reason why that there's a lot of interest now, even though that the exploration and and also the finding of these minerals in the seabed has been identified, and about many years ago, about 50 years ago, and especially in the Pacific Ocean, the interest has increased lately, and mainly because we are running low on the availability of these minerals on land. I'm sure many of you have seen movies or even like understand what mining is. Many of our Pacific, like there was mining in Papua New Guinea, there was mining in Fiji, and we've seen how these mining have destroyed our resources, displaced many of our communities, and we also bear the impact of mining practices. Now that these mining deposits are low on land because we've been mining, we've been taking from the land. Now there is a new focus on what is available in the ocean. And also because of the increase in demand for these metals that provide, materials for the technology that we use every day. So things like your cell phone, your smartphones, a lot of the electric vehicles that are being promoted for clean energy to combat climate change. A lot of these messages that are coming out that we need to mine the seabed because we need to protect our communities or our countries from climate change. Again, I need to remind you that the cause of climate change was also from the extraction of minerals, right? So we in the Pacific, first to bear the impact of these activities, and now they're coming to us to be a solution to also extract from us to provide the resources to the rest of the world. And as Dr. Mocha said, the benefits or the equity lens into this deep set mining is that the rich will get richer and the poor communities and the islands will be heavily impacted. Next slide, please. So just to I just want to show this is what the seabed or the sea floor looks like. As you can see, this is what you call the nodules that they want to mine, and these are on the floor. So these are also called in the research and in the language that they're called sea potatoes. But this is one of the minerals that will be extracted, that they are planning to extract. Next slide, please. So in our Pacific Ocean, there are three main minerals that are abundant. We have a lot of reserves and why there is an interest. So the polymetallic manganese modules, and this is what the photo that I shared before this slide. And also the sulfides. Also, these are also found close to the on the seabed at the seabed, and then you have the cobalt-rich crust. So all three have been found and are also the reserves are abundant in our Pacific Ocean. And this is why there's a lot of interest in the Pacific. In the Pacific, as Dr. Bauka mentioned, there are countries that want to explore the opportunity, the economic opportunity from mining these minerals. So Cook Islands is one of those countries who has a contract with China. Nauru, Kiribati, Tonga, and PNG have also put in their interest and have supported some of the explorations that are ongoing right now. especially in the eastern part of the Pacific. But countries like Fiji, FSM, Tuvalu, and Vanuatu have put a moratorium or ban until that there is enough scientific evidence, and also until there is enough information and understanding how this mining could impact, as well as having guidelines or regulations to regulate the commercial mining of these minerals. Some of these countries will consider, but at this point, a lot of the countries um, are banning or have put a moratorium to see where this opportunity leads. But a lot of the opportunity interest is all about economic benefits. But as we heard from Dr. Mauka and also Maria about the impacts that it could have on our resources and also our biodiversity and our marine life. Next slide, please. As you can see, these are some of the risks. A lot of the research and a lot of the documentations that we have is that we still don't have enough knowledge, enough data to show how this deep sea mining will impact our marine environments. As you can see here, this is how there will be a boat, there will be a big truck, heavy truck, or whatever it is going to be that is going to be on the seabed. And so you can imagine how disruptive it will be. There will be direct harm to the marine life. There will be disruption to the ecosystems. And in American Samoa, as we just heard, the abundance of the marine life there, and it's almost pristine. And if we're going to disrupt and see all these activities in the deep water, we don't really know how that will impact all the ecosystems and all the fisheries and all the marine life, and then will impact our communities that depend on these resources for their livelihoods. So a lot of possibility of impacts on fishing and food security, and also governance, social and governance risk is also an issue. I mean, we're talking about seabed mining. There are many gaps, like how are they going to transport the minerals? Where are they going to land? There's a lot of uncertainties, and I can already foresee that a lot of our Matais and a lot of our families living around the coastlines will be heavily impacted. Also, a lot of potential for climate impacts as well. As I said, many of the arguments that you hear that seabed mining will help mitigate climate change because be able to provide cleaner technology, but at the same time, we will be disrupting the same marine environment that also help as carbon sinks. 25% of our carbon sinks is our ocean. So a lot of that will also be disruptive. I think it's also important just to say that there is still a lot of unknowns. We don't know. I mean, a lot of the contracts are out is exploration, that they haven't done any mining yet, and that is my understanding. So if American Samoa, if this goes through, probably American Samoa will be the first country, first island to experience this activity, and we don't know how that will affect the rest of the Pacific as well. Next slide, please. So just want to share that, there are a lot of countries are concerned We also have a law of the sea, and this is where countries are working together to find ways to protect our ocean. The United Nations Law of the Sea established the International Seabed Agency in 1994. So this is the agency that regulates and oversees international waters. They are also the ones that are spearheading putting together guardrails and regulations for seabed mining. And up to today, they still haven't come up with a rule book or rules and regulations for mining companies and countries that are interested in seabed mining to follow so that no countries is impacted or so that everyone have the right and have the will to move forward with this activity. So the United Nations Law of the Sea, established in 1982, unfortunately, the United States still haven't rectified these treaties. So they are outside of the law of the sea, which also means that they don't have to abide by what the rest of the world are trying to do to protect the ocean. And that's why, the issue with American Samoa is moving faster because United States, we can say we don't have to wait for ISA, the International Seabed Agency's regulations, and that is what the mining companies are excited about. And then I also want to say that in a lot of these regulations and these levels of decision making, many of the times our indigenous communities and our island people are left out. And that's why I think part of our work today, many of our partners that are here today, should be our main goal and our main work is to try and connect to our communities and make sure that our communities are aware of these conversations and these issues and make sure that we create opportunity for them to connect and also be able to make decisions for their own families and their own villages. Next slide, please. So I'm going to end my talk, just a short video just to share with you what's going on in Cook Islands. As I mentioned before, Cook Islands have gone ahead and established a contract with China, but also there are many interests. And because Cook Islands have a big EEZ, it is their sovereign right, but this is what's happening with deep sea mining in Cook Islands. Thank you.
Oh, I want to be mining before 2030. Yeah, absolutely. I think that if we can get the right support and the right group of people together, and we do our job properly, we can be mining before 2030. The resource in our field is probably in the order of about $4 billion in potential value. So that's value. That doesn't mean how much money you're going to make. Yeah. Obviously, there's costs and so forth that go against it. But when we look at our economic analysis, the project is profitable. The project makes money, and it makes good money.
we'd really be the guinea pigs of this industry, going first in, blinded, I would say, by not really being made aware of the risks involved. So yeah, it could have long-term implications in terms of our credibility as a tourist destination. It's a risky move for Pacific Islanders. Our ocean is like our food basket. It's our life source. It's a part of our culture. We rely on it so much. So we need to really be making sure we're looking at the health of our ocean and keeping it healthy for the next generation to come after us.
Our ancestors respected that ocean. We fear the ocean, and therefore, in a way, it's protected. We're never about exploring the bottom of the ocean because our ancestors believe it's the place of the gods. We don't belong there.
Yeah, whawhitai lava. O lava noa.
Lava Auntie Violet for that eye-opening presentation, and also thank you for explaining the science and for this short video. I cannot fathom when the first line that I hear from a video like this is, "We definitely can deep sea mine before 2030," which kind of set the tone for the rest of the video. But I also wanted to emphasize a powerful line that you said that resulted in a lot of reactions in the comment section, and it was that deep sea mining is also contributing to, global warming, climate change, and that tells us. And of course, you mentioned the carbon sinks in the ocean. That blew me away when I heard that, Auntie Violet, because climate fight and ocean fight is the same fight, and we all need to stand together. It affects all of us. So thank you so much for that deep and detailed presentation of Tailava Auntie Violet. Right now, we're going to take a little break from the norm of this program. As you can see, we have breakout rooms for all of us. This is a space where we get to break out into smaller groups to make it easier for us to share our thoughts. And so we're going to go ahead, break out into our breakout rooms for 10 minutes. It's going to ask you 2 prompt questions that we would love you to discuss in those breakout rooms. The first question is, what is something new you learned from our speakers so far? And the second, how does this connect to you personally, to your personal experience and your identity? So these are your 2 questions that I would love for all of us to discuss. Thank you. The questions and prompts are in the comment section. We're going to go ahead and we are going to break out into our breakout sessions. See you in 10 minutes. And use the safe space to share your feelings and your thoughts.
Hi, everyone. For those of you who are still in the room, breakout rooms have been opened, and it should prompt you to also join a breakout room if you're able to. Please go ahead and do so, or you're also welcome to join and have a conversation with us in the main room as well. But just wanted to give you the option for that. I just saw your comment in the chat. Auntie Vi, thank you for sharing that in the chat with us.
You're muted, Moni.
Every time I'm muted, I feel like I wrote a Grammy-nominated speech, but it's okay. Sorry, thank you. Talo falava, everyone. We're trickling in. I know all of us have the prompt that we're ending our breakout session. At this time, I just want all of us to just take a breathe in and take a breathe out. Mana vai tutonu, mana vai fafo, ma lo lava faftai. I am going to just open up the floor real quick. I say we have a group photo. Okay. Love the breakout session. Got it. So we're going to take a group photo after we leave time open for the floor for everyone who joined us. I'm going to go ahead and just give maybe opportunities to a few people to share what their discussions were in their own respective breakout sessions. I'm sure it was just as powerful as mine. And so I'm going to leave that opportunity for all of you. The floor is now open for the next 10 minutes to go ahead and share. Bye. Thank you, Heilala. I appreciate you for wanting to share what you discussed in your breakout session. The floor is yours.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I did. Sorry. I was trying to look at the photo here. I didn't No, I didn't mean to, but I guess I'll share. Anyway, my name is Helal Potasio, and I'm here in Long Beach, California, land of the Chumash and Tongva. And it was a great session. I feel like I over-dominated. I was with my fellow Tongan sisters, actually, in that space. So it was just a Kainga Tonga room. But the gist of it is just a more learning experience about the deep sea mining and also what we need to do here in the diaspora, living here in the US. All of us in our little group session within the US, there's a sense of urgency. I am trying to shy away from criticizing our island nations and their governance and their sovereignty, and really doing my part here because the sacrifices of my families to be here, and that there is a deep connection that I have with Tonga as an immigrant too. So I am navigating both worlds, and I have family that rely. I have my mom's siblings, my dad's siblings who rely heavily on the whanua and the tahi. That's what their livelihoods are. And they rely on our generations to educate ourselves and to give back. And I think I am kind of shocked with what's going on with Tonga. But I think this is a sense of urgency for me that it's been deep. Ever since the volcanic eruption in Tonga in 2022, I have shifted my thoughts a lot to the Pacific. We've been silenced. I haven't added this in there. I just want to say so before I close. We have been silenced for so long. We just see a large blue Pacific, but it has people, it has ancestry, it has our culture. And so I stand with the efforts with American Samoa, and that I will do my part here, along with all of our kids. Excuse me. But this is something that should be on our minds and on our hearts. And so, tua au fatu, and may I stand in solidarity with our beloved Pacific, our Moana.
Malo Alpito, hey Lala. Thank you, Lala, so much for being vulnerable. And thank you for sharing. Thank you also for taking the mantle and thinking of our ancestors and elders who came before us and the great work that we are all bestowed to do. Bye, Lala. I see another volunteer. Is it Pauline? Hi, Pauline. Thank you for letting us know you want to share. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Faftailawa Moleavangoa. I was in a group with Sister Manfo and Auntie Autry, Jacilia, Vivian, and Fernando. And although I felt like I took up most of the time, I'm so sorry. But I'll try to give a gist of what Vivian and I shared. But thank you so much for opening the floor, Hilala. I do feel that we have that mantle passed on to us as the next generation to be advocates on behalf of our parents, especially our parents that were first gen here in the US, trying to make a living for us and navigating a new world. Very quickly, thank you to Auntie Cece and Sister Tiffany for bringing me here. But a gist of what we talked about is this cycle of extraction without reciprocity, reminding me of how often Pacifica and other marginalized communities, especially our indigenous people, are treated as resource rich but voiceless. And it resonates deeply with our experience because a lot of decisions, like what Sister Violet had mentioned, are being made about our lands and waters without our consent. Yet we are the ones who have to bear the consequences. I'm taking this to heart as I shared with my group, and I'm hoping to take it and share it with my constituents because we aren't voiceless. At the Pac-10 Fest, we are the caretakers of the Moana, and we have to, take a stand. And whatever that means, I appreciate this talanoa in this town hall that we had. Faftai lava.
Sai lava, Pauline, for your share, Malofa. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to our last volunteer. I see Manu Malo Ala Ilima volunteered to share. For the record, nobody volunteered, but I'm calling on them nonetheless because this is a safe space and we are family. So thank you for volunteering, Manu Malo. Please, Olo Avanoa Lene, Pastai. You're muted, Manu Malo.
Okay. So we had a really wonderful conversation. We had a sister who used to live in America, Samoa, and is now in, I want to say, New Zealand. And then we also had a sister who was from the Cook Islands that lives in California. And I think we all just we just kind of bear witness of the reality of us being small nations in the Pacific, and that we seem to be very insignificant to big governments, that they don't even include us in any of their decision making. And the bottom line is that they're going to make money off of places where we live, and we have very little say in it. And I think that's what's hitting us hard wherever we're living, is that we have to have more responsibility for where we came from, even if we're living in diaspora. So yeah, it definitely makes us wonder like how much we can get behind this, especially here in California. I know many of us are driven to do the work that we do. And this is just something that's part of that. And I think we need to take up this mantle, for our folks back home. Because right now it could be American Samoa, but obviously Cook Islands is impacted, Fiji, so we need to look out for one another. Yeah, tight.
Lava, Manu Malo. When the question was asked in our group, which Manu Malo was a part of, the question was, is there this sense of helplessness? Because we're talking about these really big entities here. We're talking about government, corporations. And the answer that Manu Malo shared, he said, it's not a waste of time. This is the right time. Let me repeat that. Not a waste of time. This is the right time. And so for those of us who are listening, there may be some feelings of, okay, if I write my letter, then what? And then what? If they still go through with the deep sea mining, then was it my mouth? Was it a waste of my letter? No, no. Given the realities that we're facing, that does not mean that we have no voice and we shouldn't use it. We definitely have a voice. We definitely have a say, and we definitely should use it. This is more than just ocean and land and si'umanga. This is identity, this is culture, this is livelihood, this is our being. And so all of you who participated in the breakout sessions, thank you so much, Lava, for sharing your thoughts in a smaller space. But now we're going to open it into a bigger space. On our agenda, we're moving on to opening the forum to all of us who are tuning in at the moment. and to ask questions, to share wisdom, to share knowledge, to share your thoughts and your feelings. This is the time for everyone who's in this space. So ole avanoa lenei tu'inatu ia tatou uma lava, e whaasoa tatou manatu, whaasoa fo'i mo limau, whaasoa fo'i a o'onga. If there's some wisdom that you feel that should be shared in this space concerning what we're talking about, the opposition of deep sea mining and also protecting our environment, this is the time. So the space is open. O le tō awhanoa lenei, whaamonemone.
So, sorry, hi.
It's okay.
If I ask a question, can you hear me?
Of course, because I was about to go back to my voluntold list.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Hi, everybody.
It's all
My name
you.
is Lassie. I'm here at Someone Solutions with Effie and everyone here. I think that the question that kind of came up in our group is, well, first off, I'd just like to share my appreciations with the whole team that put this space together, to echo a lot of what everyone shared around being across the diaspora, and gaining our awareness about what's happening in the home islands we don't always have access to, and just bringing attention to how our struggles are tied together. So our question that we're having in our space is, I know that there's a call to submit public comment by August 15th. And I know that we were kind of alluding to this a little bit, so forgive me if I missed this earlier. Are there any additional steps that folks are thinking about outside of the public comment that we should be aware of?
Thank you for the question, Effie. Tough time of CD. Any of our guest speakers, panelists?
Yes, I can share. I'm sure there's more actions out there, but right now there are two petitions that are circulating if folks want to sign on. And the first one is with the right to democracy, and it's linking the U.S. territories to have a cross territorial collaboration to stand in solidarity with American Samoa and our territorial rights. There's also one locally with the nonprofit that I founded, which is Fifi Now, and it is a collaborative effort with the Sustainable Ocean Alliance. Everything's in the document that I sent over. Please let me know if you do need more information. And then the other thing that could be of interest is if folks on this call, if you're part of a nonprofit, if you're part of a community, again, Earth Justice is willing to represent anyone who's wanting to make a legal claim during this process. And so that can happen within the commenting period and outside of the commenting period.
Outside, Doctor. Just a reminder, the Attorney General is also part of the team in American Samoa, working on the legal front. I hope that answered your question, Ippy. Thumbs up. For the record, Epi's screen was also part of our breakout session, and to have this discussion while at the same time weaving a fine mat in the background was such a powerful moment for all of us who were there. So thank you for the question. Thank you, Doctor, for the answer. I've been prompted by our team to go ahead and give the time over to Mel Satele. She's with SoCal Pickard. She's going to engage us, encourage us to why we should answer the call to action. Mel Olo Avanoa Lene Faftai.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Moni. Before we get into the call to action really quickly, we still want to take this photo to commemorate this moment with all of you and for all of you for engaging in our discussion too. So if you feel comfortable, please come on camera. We would love to have you featured in the photo. I'm gonna take 2 photos because there's just so many of us that I can't include everyone in just one together. So I'll do a countdown from 3. So get your smiles ready. We're gonna take this photo. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, and one more. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, amazing. Thank you all so much. Okay. Awesome. So moving on from the Talanoa section of today's town hall, again, we just want to thank you all so much for engaging in that discussion. And it's really so amazing to see everyone here just coming together in support of American Samoa and what's happening there and what has already happened to many of our other islands as well. So we're going to go ahead and continue with today's event. So I'm going to leave this on the screen really quickly. If you want to just scan the QR code on your phones, one of our team members will also drop the link into the chat for you to be able to go directly to our website. But one of the reasons that we wanted to come together to host this event in the first place was because the tangible action, first and foremost, is that we want everyone to submit public comments to the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management to let them know what you think about the proposed activities. And that is really going to be the direct action that we're calling upon everyone to take part in today. So we won't have time to write our comments today during today's event, but we did want to share our website as a resource for you all to reference as you start thinking about what you want to comment and share to BOEM about the specific issue. So shout out to Melody Terori, who was able to put this website together for our team within just a couple of days and really breaks down the issue and gives you a lot of the introductory information to know what's happening. Again, we have until August 15th to submit those public comments. And the website is going to link you to a lot of different places so you can make a really informed comment before submitting it to BOEM as well. So just kind of going through the websites, you can see that other countries have already joined the global moratorium on deep sea mining. So you can see some of that information here and just really understanding that this is not a single issue that is happening in American Samoa. It's something that has been in discussion for many years too and has already impacted a lot of our other island nations as well. So there's some information on that. And the primary resource that you're definitely going to want to take a look at is going to be our toolkit, which is linked directly on the website. Again, breaks down all of the information about how to submit a public comment. And it's also going to include all of the resources that were shared during today's town hall as well. So you can also reference them in that toolkit too. So if you just click on the link, it'll take you to the toolkit and you can kind of browse through the different folders and so forth to see what would be helpful for you to write and submit a comment as well. And then lastly, we are part of our campaign does include social media content as well, and just being able to share our voices and perspectives, even if you're not directly from American Samoa. We do welcome different perspectives on the issue and just to kind of gain traction, since this is an issue that seems to be very specific to Pacific Islanders and to Indigenous communities. We want to share it as widely as possible to folks who might not be directly part of our communities as well. So on the website, there is an opportunity for you to share a comment with us. It could be something that you learned from today. It could be something that you share as a comment. If you want to share photos with us, videos, all of those things, we definitely welcome you to share those to us as well. So that's a little bit about what the website entails. Our contact information and the other things that we've been working on will also be continuously featured and updated on the website as well for you to review too. And again, any questions that do come up in the process, you have our contact information at SoCal Picker, and then also the folks that we've been able to collaborate with across California as well too. So please bookmark, please save and share this website with all of the folks in your networks too. It's for us at SoCal Picker, this is our one-stop shop that we're putting every single thing related to deep sea mining onto this website so that you know if I have questions, I can go to this website and reference it when I'm working on my own public comment too. We are going to hopefully have a couple more events over the next couple of weeks that we will, of course, invite you to participate in as well. But in the meantime, the website is going to be a great resource for you to get started on submitting your public comments. And if there are any questions about that, please feel free to put them in the chat. But because of timing, I'm just going to move on and pass it back to Moni to continue to the next portion of today's event.
Baftai Lava Mel, thank you for all the links and the resources that are available to all of us. Please, I implore all of us in this who are tuning in and those who are listening in the future to please visit these links, navigate these links, and receive that information for all of us. Speaking of navigation, I'm now going to take the helm and give it to Leatawa Lesa Tiffany, who's the Executive Director of Alamatangi Polynesian Voices. I'm going to give her the time. The floor is now yours, Lawafioga, Leatawa Lesa, for our commitment from the community and our exit ticket. Lo avanolene, Faftai.
Faftai lava moni malabanoa. In closing, and it's I'm getting a little emotional because I stand with the Kanakawi land. As I say here, a Pacific Islander living in Hawaii, a place that's just has been ongoing occupation and environmental extraction. And I recognize that I stand on this stolen land and how privileged I am, but I have a dual kuleana to take on our people and this land that I now call home. And the call to action alongside SoCal Picker, PICP, Lengafa, as well as CRC, is to organize in solidarity. It's not a charity. We're supposed to protect something that was never supposed to be jeopardized or exploited. And so our call to action tonight, if you have been moved, whether emotionally, spiritually, we would like for you to just take a few moments. And you have been doing great so far this whole evening. We really appreciate your time and your effort and all of the energy that you all have been bringing forth this evening. But we really want to capture some of those reflections as well as your commitment on how we can move these things forward. Like the doctor had said, you know, this is a threat to our Pacific Islands, our nations, and American Samoa. So ultimately, this could advance displacement like in rapid time. And so there is a sense of urgency, and we would like to accept that. And also, how can we continue to move this work forward? So we're gonna drop an exit ticket in the yeah, there it is. Please click on the link and it will take you to a forum, and it's really short. We just want to know what stood out for you. How can you help us carry this movement forward? Whether it's a prayer, whether it's just reposting, resharing, we would love to have your support. As well as just if we need to have more town halls? Do we need to have more platforms and spaces for the storytelling, for policy development, for all of these things that just there's so many moving parts. And we thank SoCal Pickard for organizing us tonight. Thank you to our friends Moni. You're an amazing moderator this evening, and we just hope and pray that our people, our Pacific peoples in the diaspora, we can come together to protect our ocean navigators, and then, you know, and just keep carrying this legacy on. I thank you so much for this time, and I'll pass it back to our moderator, Moni Faftai Lava.
Faftai, how long will it take to fill out that ticket? Like 2 minutes?
It's very short. I think it's about like 8 questions.
Ooh. Are we allowed to just give a few minutes space for everyone to just go ahead and fill out that exit ticket? And in the meantime, I'm going to sing an old traditional Samoan hymn with my camera off.
Yeah.
And at the end of the hymn, I'm going to go ahead and continue. But it's really important that we collect that data and we collect those answers from all of us who are participating. So please fill out that right now if you can for the next 2 to 3 minutes. Pastai. Wasona oli oline lo loto ya Yesu waya fao na ya te ola ule a pese fo pese Hallelujah. Olela olowagana o Yesu ole faona ma wa oli oli ya ole tau toto na Loona uafaine talulona lo faya te au o mua me alele pese Hallelujah. Olela Yesu ole faola mai ua oli oli I hope that was enough time for all of us to fill out our forms. Okay, ofo afaele lavan nga avanoa. But that was a special hymn, an old hymn that everyone in Samoa knows. Um, it's basically, giving praise to the Creator for blessing, and everything we have is from Him. Yeah, o te loa, o vela whana. Te loa foi o whaisinga o mea tata polo kalama. Ai whaftai mo to onu sai mai, whaftai mo le whaavanoa ina tau teimi, vi ia le li, de wo o le vaenga mo di muli tatou tau talanga. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, leaders from across the state and beyond. All of you, in your own right, are public servants and servant leaders in your own respective communities. Whether it's from Samoa, from the Cook Islands, from New Zealand, or here in the continental US. Ma lo lava faftai to susunga to afionga. In closing, before I give it to a very, very esteemed leader in our community, I would like to share a cultural thought. We've shared a lot of Samoan proverbs in this program. Samoan proverbs are important because it's a testament that our ancestors already knew the similar trials that we would be facing today. And their indigenous knowledge is what we turn to for wisdom to overcome some of these problems, these trials, these experiences. One such alanga upu I can think of is tato angava'a tasi. Basically means we all come from one boat. Whether we're from that side of the Pacific, that side of Oceania, whether it's so-called Micronesia, Melanesia, Polynesia, we are all connected by our islands because we are all in the same va'a. Another alanga upu I'd like to share, speaking of va'a, o le va'a, o se va'a I le wafwe saunga le mu ai le o le mafo anga le nana fausi ai le va'a. Afa liliufa pitania in English, a boat in the harbor is safe, but that's not why the boat was built. The boat was built to go out into the unknown, out into the deep blue sea. And quite frankly, my family, we are all navigators in our DNA, and our ancestors were navigators. And so they were meant not to stay in the safety of the harbor, they were meant to explore this beautiful Moana. Why? Because they were stewards of the Moana. And a final alanga upu, which I leave with you. Fili fili letai se angava'a. which basically means let the ocean choose its steward. And it already has. It chose us. It chose us Tangatol Pacifica, Tangatol Moana. And so today we heard science, we heard economics, we heard all different spectrums of why we should be in opposition. We also heard some uncertainties. But above all, it is our culture that belongs to every single one of us. Wala poto, wala atamai, wala tato anganu, wala tu manga, wala tato faasi on si omanga, wala tato faasino manga. The Moana needs us. It needs all of us. And to all our brothers and sisters in Oceania, we thank you who are here now in lifetime and those who will hear this in the future. We ask you to please stand with us during this critical time period. Your voice combined with us. There's nothing that we cannot do together. Au tato tumaanga tato tuaa, tato mana atu fatasi. With our mana combined, we can do a lot. And despite the uncertainties, one thing I know for sure, we survive and we are still thriving. We survived imperialism, colonialism, 2 world wars, a pandemic, and in 2025, we still have a home to go back to. Empires did not last that long, but our tiny islands did. Because because of our ancestors' wisdom and their love for their environment, which of course passed down to all of us. And I know it did, because all of us are here in this space. And so in closing, Utimoliatu laonganga faftai, tapua imayo Samoa, tapua imayo motu ese Pacifica. Ai mese o lato na mua i malai, i le nei fonga ele i Amerika nei. Papena fo i tau sunga, na afio maya, sumaya, na talamaito au. Thank you so much on behalf of SoCal Pickard and the leaders of California, from where the sun rises to where it sets. All of you who came to this space and those who will join. We welcome you and we thank you for joining our program. With that said, I'm going to give the last and final opportunity. And usually in spaces like this, the person who says the last word is a person of very, very importance. And I know we all can agree that this last person is truly important in our community. The Honorable Papali'i Manufo Anua'i. She's a public servant, a trailblazer in education. She's a servant leader in our community, a proud San Franciscan. I just found out that she also loves Moana High School, and that's okay. But she's a daughter of the Moana and a daughter of Samoa. And with that, I give her the final Vying au Tato Polo Kalama to close our space with a Tautalanga Whaiu and a blessing. Lau fionga papali'i manufou ainga anua'i olo awanoa le nei whaftai.
Whaafetai lava moni, wa vea fo ilo leo ma whonga a le nea whiawhi. Ia, e mamoli le anganga whaafetai. Ma le whaamalo, wa whaavanoa ina tau taimi mo le nei ma tā upu tā ua. Ai whaasirisili le whaafetai i tātou sui mamalu mai Amerika Samoa. Le te mai tai fo mai a Sabrina, whapea le sui o Malia. Ai mai se le mamalu o le au fia o mawhai o na poto mai. Whaafetai whaasoa. Whaafetai soa lau pule. Whaafetai le atua pe a tātou mawai. It's hard not to be moved by this important conversation that we have courageously shared and dived into. We intentionally created this space just a few days ago to ensure that we can lift awareness, to support the voices that are unaware, the voices that are disconnected, those that are uninformed, ill-informed, and are still deciding. You've heard a lot tonight, but the ask is to dig deep and make informed decisions.
We're not here to influence you by what was shared, but we ask you to feel what was shared because we are people of our culture. Our ocean moves our emotions, and the calling is for us to rise up because that is the people that we come from. We rise up in times of need. We stand together in solidarity when there are gaps and voids. And that is what we are being asked and tasked to do today. Many of you came into this meeting and shared that you were unaware of all that was happening. You even stated in your groups that you did not know what deep sea mining was. But the collective voice that is deeply felt this evening is one that we are ready to take a stand. We may not be aware of the outcome. We may not even have control of it. And lastly, it may not be ours. But that does not mean that we do not fight. We have to continue to show up and we have to continue to fight because this is not said and done. So we are leaving tonight with information to go back to your communities. This is a multi-generational conversation, as you see in all that attended tonight. This is not a one-dimensional conversation. We are all required and responsible to go home, to go back to our circles, and have this hard conversation in building understanding. We are 2 weeks away from a deadline that we are responsible to submitting to. There are toolkits that are now available. There is a website. You've heard from American Samoa. We were intentional about bringing American Samoa to the table because we could not have a discussion without them. We are in diaspora and we understand e ka ua le wā. We understood that. And when we asked, they immediately stepped up. Thank you, Dr. Sabrina Sulwai Mahuka. Thank you. You just got this message, 2:30 in the morning. Same thing, Maria, thank you to you. Vaimasui, al Office of Marine Wildlife Resources. Thank you, Nate Ilawa, Fatonu of that department, for immediately answering our call. I also would be remiss if I didn't thank our legislators who also wanted to be here. Whangaima, Larry Sanitoa was the first out of the Fono to submit. He wanted to be here, but Fono was in session, the same as Malayo Talu, Melosio Gur, representative out of Whangatongo, also wanted to be a part of this conversation. What you heard today is not just about a toolkit. Talk to your legislators. Ensure that they're making the right decision and make an informed one on behalf of you. So I am honored and I thank SoCal Pickard. Thank you, Alisi Tulua, for your vision and for always convening us collectively and in solidarity because we are from the ocean and we move in waves. So I'm so deeply honored to stand with our brothers and sisters in our collaborative organizations. Malo Moni, thank you for facilitating our conversation today, representing Le'ngafa. Sister out of Hawaii, Le'atawa Lesa, Tiffany Uhila Hautau, who represents not just Hawaii and our Kanaka there, but her family who's contributed many years to this work out of East Palo Alto, San Mateo County. I also want to say thank you to SoCal Pickard and all of their team, from Alisi to Melody, and also to Layla for facilitating our convening prior to tonight. And Papali'i Violet Sa'ena for the great work that you are lifting through CRC. We thank you humbly on behalf of PICP for allowing us to be a part of this work. We all have our assignments. We ask that you be well and that you ensure that you do not walk away and make the decision to submit your voice, stand in solidarity, and share the facts to make an informed decision. Soifua Ma'ia Manuia, thank you and God bless.